So that's what we're dealing with. A lot of flooded waters. If you're experiencing a lot of rain right now in your area, we're going to talk about it, how you can catch these fish. Temperatures are drop, they're going to come back up. Temperature drop, come back up, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about some baits, some areas, stuff like that. So stay tuned. It's something you don't want to miss. All right, everybody. So just to start off to say, I'm not sure if the audio will just be absolutely terrible or not. I'm using the new microphone. It's a wireless microphone. That way I can kind of fish and talk to you guys and walk you through exactly what I'm doing. But basically what we've had going on is tons of rain. We've had just an extraordinary amount of rain in like 3 days. And the lakes are flooded, as you can tell. The water's super muddy. Can't even get to the boat ramp, you know, or the boat dock to get in your boat and all that good stuff. We got a bunch of new timber and stuff like that in the water, new cover. And what we're really going to focus on today is, you know, where do these fish go that are shallow and what types of baits to use. Now, I just want to go ahead and say the baits that I'm talking about was in my Muddy Waters video last week, I think it was. So, you know, if you're more interested in the baits, go check that video out. But what we're focusing on is fish that are moved shallow. We've had a cold front come through on top of all this rain. And typically, my experience over the past 20 years, what a lot of these fish will do when something like this happens, especially early pre-spawn, they will actually push as close as they can to cover, and they mainly feed off their lateral line. So they're trying to feel vibration and stuff like that off their lateral line, and when they feel that kind of stuff, that's typically when they'll hunt for it or, you know, strike it if you get it close enough. What I try to do is try to target the fish that are super close to the brush and stuff that's up against the bank, lay downs, stuff like that. And the cool thing about it is sometimes there's just no pattern to be found. They're just going to be on different pieces of cover. And when that happens, you can kind of just junk fish all day. That's when it's one of those days where you just put the trolling motor down and you just go. Another thing is we've had, 60 to 70 degree temps, daily temps over the week. And then the temperature has plummeted today. I mean, we're talking the high today is 48. It really feels like it's about like 36 out here. It feels like straight up winter. So, you know, we're kind of still going to slow those baits down almost to that wintertime crawl. But I'm going to kind of push the limit is what I'm going to try to do. Because sometimes even these cold fronts that come through, sometimes it doesn't necessarily put the fish in a funk. It just positions them in, you know, weird areas. So you can still catch a bunch of fish throughout the day. You just you know, kind of got to find those isolated pieces of cover that those fish are hanging out on. But you know, using those river rat spinner baits, the Booyah Covert series, any type of bright red crankbaits or dark colored crankbaits can definitely be a huge factor. But that's mainly what I'm looking for in the areas is where I'm always going to start really early pre-spawn. I'm definitely going to be looking at the mouths of the creeks again. And y'all have heard me talk about this in the past, but pinch points. So like right over here that's in front of me, this bridge, it's a narrow area that goes back into 2 separate creeks. That's a good area for a pinch point. On the back side of it, there's another point where some fish will stage up from time to time, spotted bass and stuff like that. So, you know, looking for areas like that. And I'm fishing these slack areas and the windy areas where the wind's blowing up against the bank, because we do have a lot of wind today, and we're really just trying to locate those fish that are going to be shallow, and it's probably going to be few and far between, but a lot of times doing this you can usually whack some decent sized fish. Not really shooting for numbers. Personally today it's just really hard anytime the water really muddies up to, you know, get on numbers of fish. When I say numbers, I mean it's hard to sit on one spot and catch 15 to 20 fish sometimes. Sometimes you can. So, you know, just kind of going to play everything by ear and just see how it goes. You know, those are some areas, those are some baits that you can use this time of year, especially when the water gets like this. But, you know, we've got a lot of cover that's in water that wasn't in there before, and a lot of times these fish will position right up against them and focusing on those areas. Right now I'm throwing a spinner bait. Later on I may go to a jig and flip a jig inside the cover and stuff like that, or a crankbait and beat up some rocks that are close to these laydowns and stuff like that. So, you know, it just play it all by ear and get out and practice. But that's my experience. Early pre-spawn fishing, a lot of flooded water, stuff like that. Those days where you can't even walk down the boat ramp to get in your boat. But either way, guys, I really appreciate it. And video helped you at all, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a whole lot. If you ever have any questions, comment down below, and I'll see you next time.